All right, good afternoon, everyone. Owner Tucker Ladd back with another edition of our Sequester series. We're joined today by my good friend John Flick, founder and owner of Duranglers down in Durango, Colorado. So we're kind of more of a conversation piece today, let's call it. We're just going to kind of talk fishing, learn more about the Durango area, and what all the Denver for all of the Duranglers customers that are joining in. Without first saying on Flick, he is probably one of the most, if not the most tenured fly shop owner in the entire country. How long have you been in business for, John?
This will be our 37th year.
Holy cow.
Yeah, 83. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Nice to see you. How you been?
We're hanging in there. It's been an interesting few weeks, but it's been fun, and we're just enjoying helping our customers get out on the water and kind of understand what we can do during these times. So no, we're hanging in there, trying to find the bright spot in every day. How about yourself?
Absolutely. We're doing the same. We're still shipping out a lot of online stuff, and we got guys going fishing. We can still do like backdoor curbside stuff, so we're doing that. It's kind of like drug dealing, but
well,
they're good. They're good. There's flies and leaders and tippet. So
lots of that stuff for sure. I think we're starting to see some stimulus checks coming in. People are maybe treating themselves to a nice rod reel or that pair of waders to get them through the season. So I think we can both agree that while the state of Colorado may not deem us to be an essential business, our customers are saying otherwise.
Yeah, and I think just because of the nature of the beast, the industry we're in, we have some wonderful customers that want us to be around too.
Yeah.
So, and we see a lot of that. We've seen a lot of that right off the bat of guys that are just throwing deposits for their summer trips, even or paying for the whole thing and all that kind of thing. So keeping cash flow going. So that's been nice.
Well, I think I would agree. We've definitely gotten the sense that our customers want to do what they can to help us out, and we're trying to reciprocate the same.
Absolutely.
So how's fishing down there in the southwestern part of the state right now?
The Animas is really good, and it was super good before we had a little warm spell, and it kind of came up, went off a little bit, but streamer fishing was really good then. But it got cold, dropped back down. We have blueing olives, midge popping off, and it's fishing really good.
Now, just for all of us front rangers, the Animas is the river that flows right through Durango, correct?
Right through town, yes, sir. And there's 7 miles of public water through town.
Now, I know that there's been a lot, that river's been in the news a lot in the past couple of years, but I've also been seeing, I remember one of my most favorite is that you had that Facebook post you did where you showed the picture that everyone thought was from that current flood or whatever, that spill, but it was actually from 10 years prior.
Right. Oh yeah, and that stood out. We had the spill, then we had the fire, and then the floods, but these fish on this river have been living with mining tailings for 130 years, so they're pretty strong, hardy, I guess is the best way to put it. They come back. So, and the bug life, we've had an entomologist out this whole spring, and the bug life is fantastic. So. It's fine. It's back. Not to be worried.
Very good.
Dolores is fishing pretty good below the dam. Piedra in spots. It kind of depends on the weather right now. It's springtime, so if it gets warm, some of those rivers will blow a little bit. But it's been staying cold at night, and they're fishing. The rivers look good for sure. How about you?
Oh, I think the big issue we've had on the front range is it seems that everyone who has ever fly fished at any point in their life is getting back into fly fishing right now.
That's a good point.
So it's, it's been interesting. The rivers have been full. But like I said, I think what we've deemed is going on is there's a lot of people that, hung their fly rod up maybe 5 years ago and they're dusting it off because there's not a lot of other things that you can do up in the mountains right now. So we're kind of trying to help navigate that and, trying to identify the good local stuff that people can do close to town here so that we can all stay a little bit closer to home. So it's, the big population center, it, creates its own challenges, but the fish haven't seemed to mind. So the fishing's been great.
Right.
We've got, I just checked our snowpack for this morning, and across the state, we're all looking pretty good for this time in April. And maybe we'll probably get a couple more snowstorms, I would imagine, through the rest of the year.
I got to believe we will. we're still not done with April and May, and at least in these mountains down here can definitely bring us 2 or 3 snowstorms.
So what are the next, so for people that are, maybe trying to plan out that post stay-at-home fishing trip, what would be so what are the next 60 days? What's going to be happening down in your neck of the woods on some of those waters?
Well, we'll start in on the Rio Grande probably. It could be, if this opens, I'll start guiding people, next week if we open up the deal. I mean, it's fishing good right now. I can float it. Most of our trips are booked for starting about June 10th over there through July. And snowpack solid. It'll be salmon fly hatch early and then drakes. But that's kind of going to be the next big thing we do. But again, if the governor opens the doors here at the end of the month, we'll be guiding the Animas, the Dolores. We've got private water on the Piedra, and Pine. So San Juan, at least for now, will still remain closed, quality water. Hopefully that governor will change your mind if our governor opens us up. So we'll see what happens there. But that's been a big hit on those guys for sure, and us. I mean, it's a 365 fishery, so it's hard to let that one go. But
it's easy to say that the guys have really taken it in the chin in this whole thing and not been able to
absolutely
water with their clients. I mean, it's the kind of the overlooked part of the fishing that has just been really hit hard.
Yep, absolutely. And we've been trying to do the stimulus by getting up, if we get a full payment, say on a Rio Grande trip, and going ahead and paying these guys, so helping them out that way, at least the best we can.
Well, that's what I've been telling people. They ask, how can they help? I'm like, book a trip.
Yep,
book a trip. Exactly. Don't have to pick the date right now, but nope. When we open up, we'll get out on the water. These fish, in a lot of places haven't gotten a ton of pressure because there's no I mean, I think the Front Range, we're seeing things pretty busy. From my understanding, some of the mountains, rivers aren't overly packed right now, and I think there's still some good options. But yeah, I mean, just booking a trip is great work for a great way to help.
Absolutely, and we've got openings right now because nobody is really, other than the Rio Grande, nobody's really putting any days on the calendar. So we don't have to put it.
The Rio, that's a special part of our relationship, John. That's where you and I met way back in the What the Shuck days with Michael White on the
What the Shuck, Whitey Blues,
when we had our first introduction.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, you guys, are you the oldest guide service in the state?
No, we were number 3 when we got our outfitter's license.
Who's number 1?
Billy Fitzsimmons with Taylor Creek was there, and Jackson Strait.
Is Jackson number 2?
Yep.
And you're number 3. So for everyone, it's just for perspective, everyone. Our outfitter number is, I think we're in the 2000s in the state of Colorado. So Duranglers is number 3. That's pretty cool.
Well, it's an outfitter's license, so there's hunting involved. So when we started, there was 700, I believe, 600 and some outfitters in the state. There were only 3 fly fishing only outfitters, and that's what I'm talking about. So our number's like 380.
But you're the 3rd fly fishing outfitter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah. I never asked you, how'd you get started with trout?
In trouts or in guiding or?
Yeah, everything.
Out of college, my first year in college, I should say, my freshman summer, a couple high school buddies that were wanting to go work for Gorsuch Outfitters and do what they call their guide school, which is basically just, getting certified to be a float guide.
Right.
So I was 19 and I started guiding, but I was low on the totem pole. So I would, guide 3 days a week, and the other days I would work in the shop just to supplement income. Always found that I was better in the store than I was on the water. I'll be the first to profess I was never the world's finest fly fishing guide. Probably started a little bit too young, but had a good aptitude for the fly shop and kept working, summer after summer up out of the Vail Valley. And, graduated from Colorado State University with a degree in rec and tourism. Went up to Alaska for a summer, spent a couple winters doing ski bum thing in Montana and Colorado, and then the fly shop that I learned to fish out of Trouts here in Denver was going to shutter their doors in about 2 weeks. I found out through a family friend, so from the encouragement of my dad, I came down and took a look at the shop and got a small business loan together and made the owner an offer 15 years later.
Wow, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, May 20th will be my 15-year anniversary so not quite 37 years. I'm a little behind.
That's all right.
But we're working at getting up there.
15's plenty good.
I'm pretty pleased with it. So yeah, it's been a fun ride, and get to hang out and meet cool guys like you and learn as much as I possibly can. So talk about because when you guys started Duranglers, you guys were like wrapping your own rods and tying your own flies because there really wasn't much
almost every one of them in those first 2 years. But that's 1983. So I mean, Sage started in 1981. Scott started in 1982. So we were the dam was built on the Dolores in 1985. So it was kind of a timing thing, I mean, we were it was new again. I mean, the fly fishing industry, guide service for this part of the state, and most of the state of Colorado, I think, was new. It wasn't for Montana and Wyoming, but it was new for us in this part of the state. And anyway, long story short, Tom and I met at college, CSU. We actually met at K-State, transferred to CSU, and then we had degrees in forestry. And I, after graduated, joined the Peace Corps. I was in Honduras for 2.5 years, and then Tom took a job down in northern New Mexico. When I got back, went back to grad school. 6 months in grad school, Tom called, say, "Hey, you want a job? We're logging these Vermejo Park, Taylor Ranch down here." And I said, "Sure, man." So took a job with Tom. And after I got back to Peace Corps, and then 6 months later, the owner of the mill hired a new foreman, and the foreman and Tom got crosswise. Tom got fired. Because I was his best buddy, brought down there, they fired me too. So there we were, sitting in Cuesta, New Mexico, not sure what we were going to do. We thought about going down to the Amazon and being loggers and, pilferaging down there. But I had taught Tom how to tie flies and fly fish when we were in college. My dad had me going at the age of 6, and so I kind of got him into it. When I got back from Peace Corps, he was totally into it. He fished the Rio Grande and the Chama and the San Juan. And so it was like, I always thought I'd like to do this, but I thought I'd be working in some other industry and retire and open a fly shop kind of thing. And so Tom and I studied the state of Colorado, went straight up 25, all over the loop. Steamboat was in there as a candidate.
Yeah.
As a possibility, but then we can't loop back through Durango. Nobody here. Great fishing, an hour to the San Juan, largest wilderness in the state, second largest national forest. It was pretty much a no-brainer, and opened our doors. And December 10th of 1983, all the advertising people, newspaper people thought we were crazy, open a fly shop in the dead of winter, but it was like, you got to get your doors open sometime, so we might as well do it now. So we did, and there you go. And as my wife said, that was my first wife, Tom. We're still married.
Now, Tom still doesn't have a cell phone?
He does now.
Oh,
in fact, he's like some of these. We're both pretty aged, but he's like some of these old folks, I say. Because he's a texting machine these days, he never even owned one. Now he's a texting machine, double-handed.
Oh, man.
It's pretty funny.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is good. We've had a good run, and we got a great crew now, and wonderful guides, and just a lot of opportunities to fish down here when we're open, obviously. But yeah, it'll come around. We'll get there. I think all of our doors are going to get flooded. Yep. Because of the people are been cooped up. They're not going to fly to Europe. They're not going to fly to Southeast Asia. They're going to go somewhere, and why not go to Colorado, somewhere in the West in the Rocky Mountains?
Yeah.
And I think we're all going to be in good shape once that happens.
I couldn't agree more. Now, do we have a question, Yvonne?
We do. Thomas Waldron is back, and he's asking, favorite thing about being a guide?
Favorite thing about being a guide, I'll start with that. I still love rowing a boat and watching trout eat dry flies. I can't see a trout come up and eat that dry fly when the guy presents it correctly where I think he ought to be, and he does it. It's like it's better than me having the rod. And I think that's, to be a good guide, that you last as a guide, you have to be living vicariously through the angler. If you want to pick up the rod and say, hey, let me show you how to do that, you're not going to last very long. You got to let him do it and coach him into it. And when it all comes together, it's awesome. It's awesome.
I have
Well, I'm not going to offer any perspective there, as my guiding tenure was short. And I will say that John is a phenomenal oarsman, and he is great at watching your dry fly all day long and helping you. You know, when you're looking the other way, the good old look away.
The good old look away. That's when they bite it anyway.
Oh, always. I'll never forget the day that. And actually, I'm reminded of this because I was driving back from our new store, and I've got a giant construction bolt in one of the treads of my tire. And I'm like, well, shit, I don't want to. If I pull this out, I'm just going to the tire's going to go flat immediately. So I'm going by. Remember Mark Zandell?
Oh yeah.
So I'm driving by Mark's auto shop, and he's kind enough to come out and pop that bolt out for me and patch my tire. But I'm thinking of that because it was one of the first trips that you and I floated on together, and Mark shows up with a bottle of Blue Label.
Oh yeah.
And we'd had a long night, and I mean, Mark probably caught 30 fish to my one that day. I was
yeah.
That was the last time, and the only time and last time I'm going to be drinking scotch during a day of fishing.
He's a little more intense though, but
he is, but I mean, he got it done in the front.
He did mellow over the years coming back though. He did definitely mellow from the first time I met him. For sure. Cool.
So this is a personal question for John. Favorite hatch to fish on the Rio that's not the salmon fly hatch?
Green drake, no question. That's an easy answer. I mean, the drakes come off
the salmon flies, right?
Yeah, it's usually the way it normally works is salmon flies, golden stones. Then we'll see the little brown stones. All the while, we'll see a bunch of caddis. Then you might see a PMD, and then all of a sudden it's July 4th, somewhere in there. Usually the drakes come off, and it can be, a 2-hour period in the day or an hour period in the day. But when they come off in the middle of the river, and every fish in the river is on them. And that's what got Tom and I started over there. In fact, we started there in 1990. We figured out on the Rio Grande. And we were over there floating together in the middle of the river, and the drakes came off, and they were rising right off the oar. And you didn't, you barely even had to have a fly line out of your tip, fishing the size 10 H&L variant. And we looked at each other and go, this could be a good client river.
Now, there's only 3 fitters over on that river, aren't there?
There's what?
There's 3 outfitting services over there, correct?
There's another one down in Southport that just has state wildlife permits. But
Okay.
There's 3 of us that have Forest Service permits. Yes. Yeah.
But it's you and the shop in Creed there. You're the only ones that can fish up in the Oxbows in that upper section.
Ramble House.
Ramble House.
Up there. And then South Fork Anglers, Joe Congren.
Yeah.
He's got 8,200 sports down there, and but they have permits also. Yeah.
Thomas has a follow-up question to the green drake answer. What is your favorite green drake pattern?
Man, depends on the level of water. You know, if the water's high and big, they'll still come off the water temperature base. But if it's high and big, I still like traditional patterns like H&L variants because they float high, you know, calf tail. You can see them. When the water's low, a film critic. I mean, learned that from those guys during the Whitey Palooza over there. I mean, what the shuck? I mean, not a lot of were tying that film critic, and that is a deadly pattern when the green drakes come off, for sure.
And you're a firm believer, John, in the single dry fly rig instead of the multi dry fly rig.
Absolutely, absolutely. You get, especially in the sandstone flies. You know,
go over why you are a firm believer in that.
Well, in the salmon fly, stonefly times, you know, when the water's high, those you know, I don't know if people understand that, but every other aquatic insect emerges and stonefly to hatch, and stoneflies crawl. So they're in the middle of the river on the bottom on the rocks all winter. Water temperature starts warming, they start feeling it. They start crawling to the bank to crawl out. So the fish see this, notice this, so they start migrating to the bank, and they feed on the nymphs right there as they're crawling. But they also are staging when that adult crawls out on that rock, or that nymph crawls out on that rock, completes that instar. You know, they're big, clumsy bugs. They can't fly right off the bat worth a hoot, and they fall in the water, and the trout get on them. Well, they're not six, as Mark Engler said years ago, they're not 6 inches from the bank, they're 1 inch from the bank. And you can't put two fly, there's only one fly you can put 1 inch from the bank. All right. If you got two on there, it's the back one. So why not just fish one? If it's a more of a mayfly hatch, you know, having something like a submerger or something on the back of a dry is not a bad idea for sure. But I also feel that sometimes that gets in your way to that one fish that just wants to eat the adult. So I think your catch ratio is better. Your presentation is 10 times better because it's easier to cast one single dry fly. So,
well, it's cool because I think, you know, in this era of fly fishing with, you know, how many nymphs can I put on my line or how giant of a streamer can I cast at a trout, sometimes the realities of just going back to the single dry fly close to the bank can be the most effective way to go.
Absolutely. I mean, like when it was pretty good this spring on the Animas, everybody's out. There's a lot of people out, and you can't blame them. But, you know, 99% of those people have bobbers on, fishing nymphs. They're in the hatch, and they're catching fish. But I just put on a parachute Adams, and I still catch my fair share. I'm happy.
Well, I think that I will say that there's, you know, people often ask, like, what's like the most revolutionary thing that's happened in fly fishing? Everyone always thinks that it's going to be like a rod or a reel. And I think that the most revolutionary thing that I've seen in my 15 years of doing this has been the thingamabobber.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I mean, sure. that was like a game changer for this sport and making nymphing such a, you know, foolproof, you know, way to go that it's just, I think that sometimes people need to be, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'm sure maybe it's a little different, but I mean, our nymph sale to dry fly sale ratio, I mean, it's crazy.
Well, you got to look at a trout habitat. I mean, you know, their life. They eat 90% under the surface, right? So if they're eating 90% of the surface, then your catch ratio goes up if you're fishing under the surface, right? So there's no question that nymph fishing is a productive way to catch fish. But there are those fish, and I see them, and I see them on the Rio Grande a lot, that like to rise. They prefer rising. So if you throw the thingamabobber on them, you just spooked them. Yep. But yeah, as far as, you know, game changer, because we were yarn or pinch on floats or whatever back in the day, and the two flies and, you know, size 24 Mitch people on the San Juan, and every time the guy with a bad cast, where does that end up in the indicator? And then you got a tangled mess, and you watch a guy with a poor cast with a thingamabobber, and it just kind of rolls off of it. It's like, oh, nice cast, Bob. You know, fish on.
We have a question from JV. John, how's the health of the Hermosa drainage after the fire, and are there signs the fishing is coming back?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We were up there last year. Growth is good. There's still some places where it's pretty scarred. But underneath most of the burn is already new riparian, be it aspen. There's definitely grasses. I rode my bike up there last fall. I mean, the fishery above the fire is still very, very solid, and that's where we have the native cutthroat, and it's doing very well. You know, a trout fishery is, it's not like a tarpon. You know, a tarpon can live to 100 years, and you know, old trout's 5 or 6. So when we lose a trout fishery, be it drought, fire, spill, whatever happens, you know, if it's resilient, within 3 years we've got it back. And Mother Nature can do that in 3 years. It really can. I've seen it happen, especially on this river here, the Animas. So, you know, it's coming back, and it'll be. I think it'll be exceptional this summer because nobody's been up there to fish it.
The silver lining of this whole stay-at-home nonsense.
Absolutely. I mean, can you imagine what the San Juan's going to be like below Navajo Dam when they open that up? I mean, you could probably throw a piece of bubble gum out there and catch them.
So is the San Juan closed right now?
It has been.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that for quite some time, Tucker. It's been closed. Man, it's 3 weeks. I think it's more like 4 weeks. She was the governor of New Mexico was the first one to shut down state parks. And she shut down all the state parks, which Navajo Lake is a state park. And so, I mean, that's been a hard hit for all those guys that are, you know, just guiding down there, or the lodges like Soaring Eagle, you know, a tough row for sure. But yeah, in fact, you know, guys were like, heck with that, I'm going to go fishing. And there were guys down there trying to get in there, but then they put state patrol up and locked the gates. There's been nobody fishing the quality water for almost 4 weeks, I think.
Well, that'll certainly be an experience.
Because it's already a great fishery. I mean, it's you're not going to catch fish.
4 week reprieve of anglers, man.
There'll be some
bubblegum fly.
Yeah, there'll be definitely some double ups and triple ups going on for sure.
Now, above the you guys do a lot of pike fishing on Navajo Reservoir, don't you?
Yeah, and it's been good. You know, we fished. Mark and I were guiding early. We just haven't been back. We've been fishing, but we haven't been guiding just because of the rules right now. And but I mean, we could. We're just kind of staying away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Governor says, okay, it's fine. You can get the stay-at-home rules gone, and I feel we can keep our distance. Maybe have the customers, build their own lunch and meet us there, that kind of thing. But no, the smallmouth fishing pike fishing was good, but the smallmouth fishing is exceptional right now on Navajo. I mean, big smallmouth. So,
well, I think that's a great reminder for everyone because, I mean, at least for, the Trouts front range customers, I mean, rivers are crowded, but there's a lot of species and a lot of places that don't have any pressure right now because they're not trout oriented. So, maybe
absolutely.
About, going to the Denver South Platte for some carp or one of the neighborhood ponds for panfish or bass. I mean, there's, think outside the box here because it's not just trout.
Freshwater bonefish, those carp are fun.
You mentioned tarpon earlier. How's Bus doing these days?
Not good. I mean, that's hard hit on all those Florida Keys guys.
So is he still? He's still pulling every day?
Well, when he can, but they've been shut down. That whole Keys has been shut down for almost 3 weeks now.
But he was planning on guiding the season before.
Oh, for sure. He's going to.
How old is Bus now?
Well, let's see. I'm going to say he's 71.
Good for him. I will say that.
He'll go till he can't go for sure.
That was a cool experience having fished with Bus, and he didn't pull all but that one 30-minute session, but we touched so many damn fish.
He fell off the tower there 3 years prior to that, and he doesn't want to ruin his what he's got left in his career.
No, like I said, it wasn't. He's not the 30 pulling 15 miles in a day, but we caught so many fish in a very small area.
No, he was back in the day in the early 70s. Guiding down there was Steve Huff, numero uno. I mean, he's been there a long time. So.
Well, I think that's for everyone. I mean, I was supposed to be leaving on Friday.
Yeah, I know. I've got Jeff Massey and I got a trip to the Keys starting the 10th of May. I don't know. If we can, we're going to go. I mean, so.
Well, what I've been telling people, I had to cancel our Cuba trip, and I've got a trip to Canada in August that I don't know if that's probably going to happen. But, what I'm telling people is, just move that deposit and move it forward. So if your dates are canceled, just keep the money where it is, because, I mean, all of us outfitters, that's what we need the most of, is keep the money there, move the reservation to when you can actually get out and do it. And then that's what's going to really help us keep the fishing industry going, is keeping those reservations and those commitments to going and fishing with your favorite guides or lodge or wherever. And if you can't, I'm not going to probably be able to go to Cuba in 2020, but I'm sure as shit going to go down to the Keys or go to Louisiana or somewhere else to do it.
Right. And, Tom's got a big group going to Andros again in May, but that's probably not going to happen. But, they're going to keep those deposits, send it to the guides, whatever. I've got a trip not to next February for Dorado down in Argentina again. I did that a couple of years ago, and I collected deposits and sent them in. So thinking forward that we'll be doing that sooner than later.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So, Joe, let's move on to last time you saw each other was at the IATD show in Denver, the International Fly Tackle Dealer Show.
Yep.
What's for gear for 2020? What was the kind of the coolest thing you saw down at the show?
We brought in we used to have them, but we for various reasons we haven't had Orvis in the last number of years, but we reopened Orvis this year and G Loomis. And I think, that NRX Plus, I think that H3 are both some really great rods. I mean, they're not toys. They're good rods. I was impressed with those rods. We brought those in, obviously. And then that new Trout LL in the lighter line is pretty sweet. Sage.
That's what I got a 5-weight. I'm fishing of that right now, and I love it.
And the Trout Reel, I mean, that's like the old 506 that Sage had years ago, which was a remake of the Hardy Marquis. And they brought that back out in that same bronze color. That's a sweet reel.
Yeah. No, we brought in Loomis last year. We started selling when they had that IMX Pro, and then we've been really we would sell every NRX Plus they would send us if they could send us any.
Yeah, if they could send you one. And we know that. Everybody knows that one right here. Nobody wants one, but we can't get it, obviously.
Get in line.
Yeah, because I don't know. They're really shut down. They're not doing anything in Washington State that I know of.
No, it's been tough getting product out of Washington's been a challenge for sure. So it's hopefully, I think we'll start to see, product being easier for us to get into our stores here soon. And, I think
I saw an email today that Patagonia distributor opened up again. Well, wide open. So that's a start for sure.
Well, we all need to get out fishing, and we're all just trying to find ways to get product into the customer's hands.
Absolutely. Because it's a great way to diversify and get out and get fresh air and get yourself back in it. Like you said, you got a lot of new guys that got into it, put the fly rod down, and now they're getting back in it. We've seen that same thing in fly tying. Our fly tying. So I talked to Charlie Craven here over the weekend, and he's seeing the same thing. I mean, guys are just like, it's crazy how much fly tying material we're selling, and they're getting their kid into it because they're staying home, and it's cool. Both the tying and the fishing are great things to do with your mind.
Well, I think, you got to find a silver lining in any situation. And I think that from what we're seeing, fishing's been a really sought after activity, and it's cool to see.
Absolutely.
People, really come out in droves to support us. And I know from a trout's perspective, it's been awesome to see. And I've been watching what you guys are doing online. And I think those, we all got to try to give back to the customer in some way. So I think it's been fun to find new ways to interact with everyone and just, keep the sport of fly fishing going, even if we can't go to our favorite spot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Best we can. And like I say, it'll get opened here sooner than later. And what a great thing to do is call your favorite guide and date him, So look forward to that. I look forward to get back on the sticks. I got a gut from this winter. I need to row.
Well, I dislocated my shoulder back in the latter part of February. And
Oh, really?
I'm hoping that it's going to be usable by then.
Well, good. Cast with the other hand.
Well, luckily it was my left shoulder this time. So
Gotcha.
My casting shoulder is good. I'm just not sure how the oar stroke and bigger water's going to go over.
10-4.
Yeah, we'll see.
I got it.
So where you orders get lifted, you finally get to go fishing. Where's the first place you're going to go?
Oh boy, as far as guiding or just fishing? I've been fishing
You want to get out of the boat and go.
I've been fishing the Dolores below McPhee quite a bit by myself. I love it over there, and it's a pretty beautiful place. It's secluded, not a lot of folks. But on the boat here on the Animas, because we have all that wonderful Ute water down south of town, the Southern Ute, and we take out down on their property, but they also close all access to their property. So until that opens, which I don't know when that'll be, can we actually do our normal float on the Animas? But as soon as we can, I'm on it. And then, of course, the Rio Grande, I'm ready to get on it. I've been over there. Wife and I bought a house in Creed there a couple of years ago, and I've been over there working on it and fishing. Or I tell my wife I'm working on it, and then I go fishing. She's not listening to this. So. But, no, it's been good. It's been good, and it looks like it should be another solid year over there for sure. And
are the residents of Creed obeying the stay-at-home order?
More than some. They're quite strict over there. Yeah, they don't want anybody. If you don't own a home or something like that, you shouldn't be there. It's such a small community, and there's no medical system. So yeah, and so it's a catch-22 because that's what supports Creed is the second and third homeowners and the tourists and the blah 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 and the fishermen, and so they want them there, but they don't want them there until everybody says it's okay. So,
well, that really goes for any mountain community these days.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think even was it Gunnison County shut down. If you weren't a resident of Gunnison County, they're not letting you even in there, I think. I saw that last week, I think. So, but.
Well, I think we'll all just do our part, and we'll get on the other side of this thing, and, we'll be able to move around and do what we want to do.
Just like old times. Yeah, it'll be a little different off the bat, but I think it'll adjust soon enough.
For sure. For sure.
How about you? Where you want to go fishing or get out?
I would love to just put my boat on the Colorado and go for a nice long float and watch some big dry flies. That or take the pups and go up into Cheeseman Canyon, go walk around, clear my head. It's getting a little tired of walking around my neighborhood every day.
Are you walking your new pup?
We enjoy the wide open spaces you all have down there, John.
I understand the difference. It's like Avery Auger. I talked to him last week over in Creed. He's been there quite some time. And we started talking about this and that. And he goes, we perfected social distancing here. And I said, yes, you did. It's just part of the nature of the beast.
That it is, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Are you taking your pups on the walk with you? Are they tired of it yet?
Well, I go on multiple walks a day now. So we have our puppy walk. Oh yeah, we should
Right.
probably provide.
Better show them. Better show them. You'll get some heavy hits on those.
Oh man. Oh,
There they are.
here we go. Brothers
What's
from
the
another
name?
mother. So we got, we have morning walk, we have evening walk. The kids come on those, and then we take the geriatrics, as we call them now, the old labs. They come out later.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
no, we're just a big old happy.
What are your pups' names? Okay.
He's our 8-week-old Labradoodle, and then he's Bo. He's our 7-week-old Golden Doodle.
They are very mellow.
You know what? They've been really, really cool boys. They're chill. They like to play. Working on the potty training thing. It's it's been a struggle.
Yeah. Well, you got time to help with that.
We got lots of time. So yeah, we'll do lunchtime here, boys, after this. So, well, cool, John. Well, it was great catching up.
You as well, Tucker, and wish you the best in this upcoming season. And
we'll be in touch, and I'll look forward to taking place in the front of your drift boat or raft here sometime soon, and you can watch my dry fly.
I would love to do that. Love to do that.
Cool. Well, good seeing you, John.
You as well. Thanks again.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.